showcasing sophisticated global history of musical instruments at that time. This performance by Li Yonghua features the piece Flip, a Chinese term that translates to the joy or progress. This title mirrors the unique playing style and vibrational characteristics of of the show.
Yet immense expressive power. Made from clay, its modest size belies its profound ability to express emotions, whether it's playing in a fluid, melodious manner or more slowly. The Xun allows for the expression of emotions with a richer sense of beauty and nuance.
And depth has historically led the Shun's sound to be described as celebration. Also carries an undertone of melancholy. Fall and time passes. It's this ancients to associate the Shun's sound with early, a reflection of nature's poignant beauty, capable of and joy. Next, introduced and performed by
岁月生香。
朝气昂扬，歌声嘹亮。
How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get an hour every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. See you there.
This is CGTN Radio. The difference.
Now the news. I'm Zhu Tianlu. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has met with the outgoing Cambodian ambassador to China in Beijing. Wang said he appreciates Kektai Mili Sisuda's contribution in developing the friendship between China and Cambodia during her 17-year tenure. He said China will work with Cambodia to carry forward their unbreakable relations. In response, Sisuda thanked the Chinese side for its support. She also vowed to continue to promote bilateral ties. Wang Yi also held a banquet for Sisuda and diplomats of ASEAN countries in China. Israel has reopened an aid crossing into Gaza as the United States calls for more restraint in Israel's offensive against Hamas. Fierce fighting continues in Gaza, with nearly 19,000 Palestinians killed since October 7th. The number of Israeli deaths stands at around 1,200. Relatives of hostages taken by Hamas have protested in the mistakenly killed Israeli hostages from Jerusalem.
The Israeli military was saying that it accidentally killed 3 of the hostages still being held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army has still not been able to rescue any of those hostages still being held there in any of its military operations in the Gaza Strip. Something very rare here in Jerusalem, a rocket barrage coming precisely from the Gaza Strip toward Jerusalem. We saw several interceptions here of those rockets coming from the Gaza Strip by the Iron Dome missile defense system that Israel has. Now, what this does show is that Hamas still has resilience and maybe more than the Israeli military would have thought or and certainly would have liked at this point of its relentless offensive in the Gaza Strip.
European Union leaders have failed to agree on a €50 billion package of financial aid to Ukraine at their summit in Brussels. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban vetoed the deal. He also vetoed the review of the bloc's multi-annual financial framework. Giles Gibson reports from Brussels.
European leaders arrived at this summit with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban blocking their next steps in terms of supporting Ukraine. However, through a late-night tactical manoeuvre, the leaders were able to get around Mr. Orban's opposition to starting accession negotiations with Kyiv. So, with Mr. Orban agreeing to step out of the room, the remaining 26 leaders agreed unanimously to start those negotiations.
Russia has described the European Union's decision to open membership talks with Ukraine and Moldova as a politicized decision that could destabilize the bloc. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that negotiations to join the EU can last for years or decades, and neither Ukraine nor Moldova meets the criteria for membership at the moment. A strong cold front has been sweeping across large parts of Russia, causing temperature drops and bringing strong winds and blizzards. Meteorologists say Moscow has been hit by the strongest snowstorms in 6 decades. Streets were blanketed in snow and motorists struggled to get their cars out of parking spaces. Major roads were in chaos as truck drivers battled with more than 20 centimeters of snow. The weather website says total snowfall in Moscow this month could reach 50 centimeters.
China has issued the first low temperature warning of this year, forecasting drops between 5 to over 7 degrees Celsius across wide areas of the country's north to a part of the south. The yellow warning issued by authorities for low temperatures from Saturday to Tuesday is the second highest in its cold weather alert system. It says wide swathes of northwest China's Xinjiang region and other northern regions in China will see daily minimum temperatures drop of around 7 degrees Celsius from the same period in recent years. Low temperatures as far as the city of Beijing in southern China's Guizhou. While the frigid weather which began earlier this week brings with it heavy snow and blizzard. Yesterday,
受到帮助的小朋友
范楼镇徐家县小学的小朋友开心地对小伙伴说，他们正在集体会。
Ever in human history that we decided to transition away from fossil fuels.
Transition does leave a lot unanswered and a lot sort of up in the air. It's certainly not proposing radical change.
I think it's very positive for China and the United States to sign the Sunnyland Declaration before this COP28 to pave the way for today's relative success.
The Chat Lounge.
Chat Lounge. Chat Lounge.
The Chat Lounge unpacks views and opinions on hot issues in a more casual way.
Hello and welcome to Chat Lounge. I'm Jialing. Almost 200 countries have adopted the first ever UN climate deal that calls for the world to transition away from fossil fuels. The deal comes after 2 weeks of hard-fought negotiations at the COP28 climate summit in Dubai. COP28 President Sultan Al-Jaber hailed the deal as historical and said it offered a robust plan to keep the target of 1.5 degrees Celsius within reach, but added a note of caution for nations.
Here listening sounds a word of caution. An agreement is only as good as its implementation. We are what we do, not what we say. To turn this agreement
Definitely, COP28 has delivered a landmark milestone. It's very unprecedented, but it's the first time ever in human history that we decided to transition away from fossil fuels. So from the reason why it is very important to me.
从哪个方面提出人是早产3年的早产？
今日开始水淹加沙隧道，美国称以色列正失去人质责任。
обесни в североизточном Китае часто се характеризират с весела и забавна мелодия. Чрез песните вие можете да се докоснете до реалния живот в този район. Следващата песна описва настроението и подготовката на една жена преди да отиде на театър.
Bulutlu organizmning immun sistemasi tuvallab, kasalga qarshi turish, taqobil turish
این موضوع را برخی از فعالان زن نیز در حساب کاربری خود در شبکه اجتماعی ایکس تایید کردند. خانم پروانی عضو جنبش خودجوش زنان معترض افغانستان است. جنگیان طالبان زنان معترض را از خانه در خیرخانه کابل بازداشت کردند. در آخرین مورد یونما نسبت به بازداشت‌های خودسرانه و دراز مدت زنان معترض توسط طالبان ابراز نگرانی کرده است. این در حالی است که اخیراً منابع افغانستان اینترنشنال گفتند جولیا فارسی یکی دیگر از زنان معترض در زندان طالبان به شفاخانه انتقال یافته است. مدافعان حقوق بشر گفتند که جولیا فارسی با وضعیت بد جسمی و روحی ناشی از شکنجه‌های وحشیانه در دخمه‌های طالبان به شفاخانه منتقل شده است. در حال حاضر جولیا فارسی، منیژه صدیقی و پریسا آزاده سه تن از زنان معترض دیگر در بازداشت طالبان به سر می‌برند. سلام بر رادیو افغانستان اینترنشنال خوش آمدید. من احمد ضیافی پور هستم. در این برنامه نظرگاه گفتگویی داریم با بانو زهرا احمدپرست، فعال حقوق زن از آلمان. سپاسگزار هستم از حضور شما. فرزندش از زندان طالبان شما چیزی بیشتر می‌دانید؟
سلام خدمت شما شنونده و شما خانم نگاه فرانی دیروز باشه خوشبختانه آزاد شد، اما ما نگران دوستای دیگه ما هستیم که هنوز از بازگشت اطلاع نداریم.
会根据环境的信息自己产生变化，就像是搭建一个建筑物一样。它
I think there has to be. I think it's quite difficult to ignore this, and it is quite. Again, while let's be positive, there was very, very strong language about the transition, about the need to move away from fossil fuels. The hosts, and in particular the person hosting the event, are probably not the most suitable. I think that's beyond doubt. However, that is the industry, and that is a representative of the industry that needs to change. So you could turn that into a positive and say, well, if they come on board and start talking the language at least that we need to hear, then that's a step in the right direction. But I think Al Gore's got a point. The real issue here is the oil-producing countries, the richer oil-producing countries, need to change and need to pay substantially the poorer countries in their efforts to change, because they can't do it at all without that. And that hasn't happened. There has been some sort of agreement and tentative sums mentioned at previous copy, but that has not. Yes, I think the host in particular, the person and also the industry really was not at all suitable, and it really needs to be poorer. It really needs to call for change immediate, and once again we need to see some demonstrable signs, so that within the next year is then met a tangible quantified target that's met, then we can all start to really believe that we are moving in the right direction. At the moment it's difficult. I think everybody's sort of holding their breath to think what happens next. The rhetoric's there, but what about the reality? So yes, the UAE is not an ideal host.
Okay, but Mike, if we consider the historical contribution of the United States to carbon emissions and also its current high consumption levels, is it fair for Al Gore to demand changes from oil-producing nations without addressing his own country's continued demand for oil? So does this situation raises
I think it's a very, very good point, and I think, yes, that is, hypocrisy is probably the right word there. I think it's very, very easy for richer countries and Al Gore, for example, to point the finger, but they need to look closer to home, and we need to look at major lifestyle change. Rule out, root out, and inspect and impose all sorts of fines. People need to change the way they live and rely less on fossil fuels when it comes to transportation. So yes, I think it's a very, very good point that the US in particular are oil guzzling consumers, and that really is something that really hasn't been addressed. Government, it comes down to ultimately it all comes down to consumers, and American consumers are amongst the most guilty, I think is the word, when it comes to
So Marjun, what's your thought on the distribution of responsibility and accountability? Some representatives climate change is an attempt to turn the table. How do you look at this?
Yeah, I think that in the UAE consensus document, we noticed that the principle, the UN principle that common but differentiated responsibilities. This is based on the understanding led to by the historic accumulation of the greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide emission, since the Industrial Revolution and mainly. So this principle has again be reiterated and will be upheld for that reason. Having said that, obviously the economic and social landscape is quickly evolving, and as countries like China and India, some of the oil-producing countries are getting, the economy continue to grow, and the emission is also going up. That's the very to the protocol, the Paris Agreement has been signed, which now from this phase, all countries have been involved. I think it's very positive to sign the Sunnyland Declaration before this COP28. It actually helped to pave the way for today's relative success of the meeting. In that declaration, the two countries have agreed on several very important things. One of that is triple the renewable energy capacity and double the energy efficiency. The second one is try to move away from fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas. And then the third one is about methane and other non-carbon greenhouse gases. And all of this have helped to set the stage at COP28 for more countries to join and eventually come up with this. Because China and US 40% of the global carbon, and it's absolutely crucial for the two countries to work together and both bilaterally and also facilitate the multilateral process.
And Changhua, notably, there was a heavy presence of people affiliated with oil and gas industries at the summit, and that raised concerns about industry interests overshadowing climate action, with one climate activist likening them to arms dealers attending a peace conference. So do you believe this criticism is justified, or do you think it is essential for climate conferences like this to include perspectives from various stakeholders?
Well, I do think there is this fairness to have this sort of opinion. In reality, I think, of course, this is the largest ever COP. Nearly 100,000 people being in the process, most physically, and thousands online as well, right? And among that, a large group of delegates. So that's 2,000 people covered either directly from fossil fuel industries or some of them actually more like regarded as lobbyists or PR firms, whatever, representing actually or advocating for fossil fuel industry there. So yes, that's a harsh reality we have to deal with. But in the meantime, as we're talking about it here today, our current economy and infrastructure is mostly built on fossil fuels. To have everyone together to shift to them away from fossil fuels there. So instead of keeping them away, I think the better option is to它和俄罗斯那个飞地sort of objectivity in that sort of position. I think his stance, he's been saying very firmly that actually because of my role, my connection with the fossil fuel industry, so I can be more inclusive, right? And to bridge this sort of conversation with the fossil industry there, I respect that sort of opinion there as well. But more importantly, as we were talking about it here today, and we need to be delighted to see that the geopolitics actually didn't derail the global process. Just imagining how complicated, complex the situation we're in, right? And we have the two wars at least, actually. And then we have this sort of, sort of geopolitics between the two largest economies there as well. So there were lots of concerns, worries, even fears actually leading up to COP28. So Martin just mentioned actually the Sunnyland, the U.S.-China joint
系统的不仅仅是名字上听起来是反导系统，它的攻击性其实也很强。那么
that the confidence that the two largest economies will work together to successful global process. But in the meantime, just look at the content of the Sunnyland Joint Declaration, even though it to a certain extent set the tone for the transition.
比较严密的是它反正很保护的。有这个大型相互电雷达，比如说3到2这个反导的方向，不可能这么
more immediate, much more ambitious the level of the action. So, all the forces coming together, we ended up to have what we have today. But in the meantime, it's far from adequate. Next stage, we'll see specific targets the countries will bring together up to 2035, the new NDCs, in order to say, okay, you really honor your commitments in the 28, final consensus, and we need to align your next stage targets with the 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming target by the end of the century. So we'll see, fingers crossed. But as I said, it's a starting point, but a challenging road ahead.
Been talking to Wu Changhua, acting chair of the Governing Council of Asia-Pacific Water Forum, Ma Jun, director of the Institute of Public and Environment Affairs, a Beijing-based NGO, and Mike Bastian, a senior lecturer with the University of Southampton in the UK. We'll continue our discussion after a short break.
As one of CGT and radio's most popular programs, World Today provides listeners with a strong mix of international news and business. It delivers in-depth analysis of current affairs and one-on-one interviews, bringing you the stories behind the news, not just what's happening, but why.
Hello, I am Dr. Disby James Wren, a political analyst and international relations scholar specializing in China area studies. World Today offers unmatched in-depth perspectives on China's politics, economics, business, technology and society. Today's team of reporters and from all of the world's economies. I hope you can join me on today for the very best insights and news from China, on China, and help to build a better understanding of China's role in the world today.
You're listening to Chat Lounge. I'm Zhao Ying, joined by Wu Changhua, acting chair of the Governing Council of Asia-Pacific Forum. Beijing-based NGO, and Mike Bastian, lecturer with the University of Southampton, UK. So, Mike, in your opinion, how can multinational corporations in the fossil fuel industry take greater responsibility for the should there be specific commitments or accountability measures for corporations in international?
And they have to really keep doing what they're doing, and if anything, expand. The rumours are that there were quite a few deals cut in the oil and gas industry at this summit, incredibly, to expand production. So I think what can they do? I think they need to be forced to do. I think this is where government initially has to really set the ball rolling and impose targets, financial penalties, and force multinationals to transition away from fossil fuels to cleaner, renewable energy systems, however long that takes. And that is a long, winding road, but it needs to start, and it hasn't really started. So I'm not sure that multinationals if you rely on multinational private sector companies to change, then you're going to be relying for a very, very long time because they can't, not necessarily why they just can't change. The system won't allow them to change, so the government has to impose change. And we haven't really seen that in this summit, even though the language is encouraging.
Okay, so Martin, I mean, how can fossil fuel industry be encouraged to take responsibility for to prevent climate change? Or, I mean, there's an obvious conflict of interest there, right? Or do you think there could be some kind of middle ground where the fossil fuel industry can coexist with sustainable energy solutions during the transition period?
Yes, the very country that has been selected to host this COP28 is controversial, and then of course the president of the COP meeting, he himself is the head of the largest oil company of UAE, so of course even bigger controversial even before the opening of this COP28. But on the other hand, as a Chinese proverb goes, if you want the tiger's cub, then you need to go to the tiger's den. In some way, so many people at this time, about 100,000
video alay hamisha or day
to be made. To capture and store those carbon emissions from the fossil fuel consumption. I mean, this logic is shocking. It's my impression that even the Chinese coal companies, they have more understanding that there's no future on the fossil fuel side direction. They need to transition. But those big oil companies in the West, some of them still obviously not trying to do that.
Yeah. So Changhua, can you help us understand China's stance on transitioning away from fossil fuels, and how would you assess China's efforts in this regard?
Sure. But before I get on that, I want to help finish up a little bit the conversation around the private sector. So even though it has been challenging and the fossil fuel industry to transform, and if you look at the current global investment in renewable energy sector, out of this $1.8 trillion last year, or barely only 1% actually from oil and the gas industry investing in new renewable energy sector. That tells you something, meaning they are not really proactively, transitioning or transforming themselves as well. But in the meantime, actually, I am hopeful at this very moment for a few things. One, with all the governments actually signing up to UAE consensus, that means that you would expect more government policy incentives actually to be put together to create probably the largest ever marketplace for, clean energy clean energy or modern energy systems there. And such incentives will definitely attract more, financial flows. And, BlackRock just came out today saying, they see the way the consensus actually reached at COP28 as the metaphor to unleash unprecedented amount of financial investment towards renewable energy efficiency, clean technologies there. And we all see all the technologies are available, right? And the public demand, the youth demanding for change. So all the major drivers around the next level, the new marketplace actually already coming together. Financial institutions are demanding for transparency, right? And accountability there as well. So from that perspective, I feel very hopeful. Now, shifting to China. China, even though continues to be stuck in this the curse of coal, but in the meantime, China has made a very strong, very convincing case in terms of clean energy transition. Just look at the wind, solar, EV, and battery technologies, typical, every popularly know, not only in China but also globally. So today, if you look at the marketplace in China, and we have about half of the resource, electricity capacity already coming from a number of these fields already. And if you look at the deployment penetration of EVs, actually about 30%, more than 30% of the fleet running on the streets are already EVs there. Now, from economic perspective, we know if a new product actually coming to the market, also taking again 3 to 5% of the market share, the trend is hard to reverse anymore, right? So China, compared to many other countries, probably is positioned uniquely with a sort of, strong incentives and incentivizing the fast industrialization of clean energy technology manufacturing capacity. That's why we end up actually leading the global value chain there. In the meantime, incentive targets were put together to really scale the deployment of these solutions in reality. So when the scale is up, the economy of scale is so obvious, right? If you look at solar energy in particular, solar is the least cost clean energy solution today, not only for China but also globally there as well. Now, this sort of leadership in transition, or the China case, is well known, well recognized somehow at the COP process. One particular session I participated, panel I participate during the COP process is to talk about really China's case, and particularly the angle of negative tipping points versus positive tipping points. The negative tipping points pretty much tells us how devastating the intensified climate disasters we're in today, with all the losses, damages, particularly for most of vulnerable countries and people. Tipping points.
अफगानिस्तान का निज़ामी ताकत पेंगल वाला पाकिस्तान का और
قدرتمند آمریکای رو و زمانه رو دارن موضوع عملا اوکراین در موضوع به فلسطین و اسرائیل چرا افغانستان
څنګه چې بایدن وکړ نو دغه یعنی بایدن په دې کې فرډلي او بایدن ډله به هم یو د افغانستان پر واقعي یو خبره کوي نو دوی دغه مهم د دوی د ارګومنټ یا د انتقاد چې کوي بایدن باندې دغه د افغانستان موضوع ده چې دوی باید مخکې ورسوي
بسیار تشکر. آقای آسی بازم در مورد آقای ترامپ بازم نگران است، میگه که خروج آمریکا از افغانستان باعث شده که در این کشور یا در افغانستان داشته باشه. دیدگاه شما چی است؟ چین هم واقعا پا روی همون جای قدم که آمریکا گذاشتن نگذاره یا مورد دیگه است، یا فکر میکنید که چین بیشتر نگاه اقتصادی داره در افغانستان تا سیاسی و امنیتی؟
خب ببینید چین در افغانستان هیچ نوع حضور نظامی نداره. تئوری‌های توسعه وجود داشت که بعد از اینکه جمهوریت سقوط کرد و آمریکا بیرون شد در مطبوعات و در بازجا شنیدین که والا چینی‌ها در میدان هوایی بگرام آمدن و اونجا حضور پیدا کردن و رفتن میدان هوایی بگرام. متاسفانه او تمامش دروغ برآمد، واقعیت نبود. اما این می‌بینیم که در تمام انتخابات از یک سلسله معلومات های غلط یا نیمه حقیقت به خاطر به اعتبار سازی طرف مقابل خود استفاده میکنه. چون موضوع چین در انتخابات امریکا یک موضوع بسیار بزرگ است و یکی از میدانهایی که میتونه آقای ترامپ بایدن بدنام کنه یا اینکه به اعتبار بسازه و رنگ زیاد بگیره بایست که افغانستان و چین
Okay, come on, speaking. Thôi là here we're pretty much reaching at about 1.21.3 degrees Celsius warming already compared to pre-industrialization process. And next year, 2024, which is around the corner, we will pretty much have the high probability of crossing the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming, target there. But doesn't mean we're going to stay there forever because the natural fluctuations will bring down the temperature there. So we do need
就是要让莫西承担勾结海贼。
trajectory, and so we have to adapt. That's the reality we have to, somehow accept. So on one side, we need to mitigate as quickly as possible, and in the meantime, we need to adapt. Which has been, through all the negotiation process, that's a very, very important piece of the puzzle, because even for the away from fossil fuels, for emerging economies and other developing countries, smaller vulnerable countries there, they need financing, they need capability support, they need technology in order to make sure we transit together away from fossil fuels rather than until the negotiation is about money, right? Particular money for adaptation, not only for mitigation but also for patience there, right? The committed, the pledge, the finance is just left too far behind what's needed at this moment. Even though progress is made on the first day, actually, to operationalize the new loss and funds, loss and damage fund. But if you look at the pledged financing today, it's barely about $700 million. Put that in the context of what the UN said in terms of needs every year, which is about $400 billion a year. It's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean, literally, right? So that's another side of the negotiation away from transitioning, but also in terms of financing, the means of implementation, which has been clearly stated actually in the Paris Agreement, including financial support, including technology support, transfer, as well as capacity building. So from that perspective, in order to really move forward with the transitioning away from fossil fuels, the local community has to really work together. Developed countries have to put their money on the table in those different pots in order to really support the global transitioning process. Otherwise, it will remain more like a talking than walking.
Okay, so Mike, as we know, in the pursuit of a greener future, it is essential to consider the real-life impact on communities, as we see indigenous people in Brazil when turbines on their land or protecting against higher fuel taxes.
佢呢條河佢係連住中山嘅，咁好多人咧就當
تامین امنیت این کشور ولی که برای اینکه این تشکیلات که طالبان برای قوت شناختن نشن خب بحث توفانه کنیم
the big historic emitters have not actually followed suit. This is very unfortunate. Hopefully, this issue will continue. It's also very important, as I just mentioned, for the best.
的毛细血管，它都。
And there's a further more potential on that. So the whole world can come to instead of trying to resort to some
除此之外咧，我覺得嗰啲村民
典性逃走一样的。
پاکستان سره یو تعاملي کې او یا پاکستان ته راسرلاندي نو دوی هدف هم دا دی چې افغانستان د تروریزم د ځالې په نوم باندې باید یاد شي تر څو په رسمیت ونه پېژندل شي او زموږ د اغېز لاندې وي نو دوی دغه مسله تیر وختونو کې هم یاده کړې ده اوس یې هم یادوي او په آینده کې بیا هم یادوي.
بسیار تشکر. اما آقای آسی، حضور آمریکا در افغانستان بهانه‌ای بود برای جنگ طالبان. حتی در پاکستان هم که شعارهای TPP به همکاری حکومت وقت افغانستان با آمریکایی‌ها بود. فکر میکنیم حالا اگر بحث برگشت آمریکا باشه که شما موافقش نیستین و فکر میکنین که مقدور نیست، اما خانم بارگزای میگه به هر شکلی که از حالا نظامی ولی 5500 سرباز را قرار است که به افغانستان برگردن برای تامین امنیت که ظاهرا برای تامین امنیت سفارت آمریکا. اگر اینو برگردن باز هم امو پس 20 سال گذشته نمیشه که این انگیزه شود حالا برای جنگیان TPP یا 23 گروه دیگه که آقای منیر هم به اشاره داشت.
خب ببینید منایی که شاهدین تو پژوهشگر بی‌بخش من هیچ کدام الان داره نمیدونی سفرهای معامله داشتم چند وقت پیش امریکا با مسئولین متعدد از اینا صحبت کردیم الان به دانشگاهیشون کنگره هیچ سند رو ندیدیم که امریکا علاقمندی داشته باشه در حال مذاکره با طالبا به خاطر فرستادن نیروهایش باشه. این روایت ما زیادتر از کسایی که در مقاومت از شنیدیم به خاطر از اینکه جذب حمایت منطقه را کنند که طالبای نیروی غربیست و چون واگنر امریکاست و موارد دیگر کو زیادتر مصرف بر صفوف خودشان بر حامیای خودشان دارد. بنان یگانه جایی که این روایت شنیدیم به اونجا بوده. بحث سوم ایست که فرستادن نیرو و افغانستان از طرف امریکا از طرف رئیس جمهور امریکا یک بحث بسیار مهم و بزرگی است و بدون کنگره بدون مشوره با کنگره و مطبوعات مثلا درس نکنه او یک تصمیم گیری ساده نیست. کنگره امریکا رئیس جمهور امریکا هیچ وقت چی به شکل مخفی چی به شکل علنی نمیتونه نیرو بفرسته بدون از اینکه از کنگره اجازه بگیره. استثناءات وجود داره. اسرائیل است کشورهای دیگه که بسیار به شکل عمیق روابط داره. اما یک تئوری وجود داره که اگر از خاک افغانستان کدام حمله تراشی شد به اون صورت رئیس جمهور امریکا میتونه تصمیم بگیره. منتها شخص آقای بایدن حتی نمیخواد نام افغانستان رو بشنوه یا درباره افغانستان صحبت کنه یا گپ بزنه. بحث ادارات استخباراتی و امنیتی امریکا با طالبان خصوصا با شاخه قنداریش ارتباط داره. از طریق قطر داره یک دفتر همان کننده در دوحه وسیق و یک دور کسایی دیگه شما شنیدیم که با رئیس CIA معاون CIA ملاقات داشته بحث زدن که زیادتر گفتن شخصانی ارتباط داشته و رئیس مطبعه و شخصانی به حمله زنده و کشته شده.
日，防疫在京集体会见来华举行中沙伊三方联合委员会首次会议的沙特外交副大臣胡莱伊朗外交部副部长巴盖里，15号受中共中央委托，中共中央政治
китайской культуре «Здравствуй, Китай». 你，中国。
Хотя изобретение доуфу было случайным, в Китае процесс его производства постепенно довели до совершенства. Существует много видов доуфу – северный, южный, прессованный и другие. Разница между северным и южным доуфу в том, что при приготовлении северного доуфу в подогретую массу из измельченных соевых бобов добавляют рассол. В результате получается очень плотный доуфу, в котором мало жидкости. В южном рецепте используют гипс. У этого доуфу белоснежный цвет. Он очень нежный и мягкий, похожий на желе.
Разные виды тофу и готовят по-разному. Северный тофу пригоден для тушения и жарки и идет в различные начинки. Южный также тушат, но чаще варят и используют в супах, а также в виде холодных закусок. Словом, кто как пожелает. Кстати, а ты пробовал пахучий тофу?
Пока нет, хотя слышал, что у него действительно очень необычный и странный запах. Иностранцам он кажется страшно неприятным.
Я тебе советую все-таки попробовать. Это очень известное южное китайское блюдо.
Слово на сегодня. Сиху, озеро Сиху.
Малин, на следующей неделе я поеду на экскурсию в город Ханчжоу. Я так рад этой поездке.
Слава, как я тебе по-хорошему завидую. Ведь Ханчжоу считается одним из самых красивых городов Китая.
Я слышал, что в Китае говорят, на небесах есть рай, а на земле города Суйчжоу и Ханчжоу. Малин, знаешь, в Ханчжоу мне больше всего хочется побывать на озере Сиху, ведь оно очень известно далеко за пределами Китая.
Еще бы, красоту Сиху невозможно описать словами.
Ты знаешь, перед поездкой я прочитал легенду о происхождении Сиху. Давным-давно, в незапамятные времена, на небесах жили яшмовый дракон и золотой феникс. Однажды на небесном острове они нашли кусок драгоценного камня. Дракон и феникс долго терли и чистили его, и он превратился в изумительную блестящую жемчужину. Она так ослепительно сверкала, что что благодаря ее ярким лучам всегда цвели цветы, а деревья оставались вечно зелеными. Богиня Ванму прослышала об этом удивительном жемчуге и решила его отобрать у дракона и феникса. Во время борьбы они выронили жемчужину, и она упала с небес на землю и превратилась в озеро Сиху. И с тех пор окрестности Сиху стали цветущим и благодатным краем.
Дракон и Феникс, не желая мириться с потерей жемчужины, превратились в две горы на берегу Сиху. Их до сих пор так и называют – гора дракона и гора Феникса. Цикл программ о китайском языке и китайской культуре «Здравствуй, Китай!» Ни хао, Чунго!